Catherine here with Circle Art Designs. Today will be project number 6 for the Bargain Bead Box of November. This will be a green cubed stretch bracelet set. I will be using the Beadsmith Traveler's Bracelet Set. I like this because it has a lid on it and it's easy to hold the beads in place. From the Bargain Bead Box, we will be using the 6mm crystal cubed beads in green shimmer. From my own stash, I will be using the glass faceted crystal Rondelles in clear and silver. I love these. I will also be using some check crystal rhinestone rondelle spacers in 6mm. Added this some crystal glass faceted rondelles in 8mm. And some crystal glass rondelles in green. This will be in 6 and 4mm. And to round everything out, I have some rondelle spacers in various colors. And I have silver spacer in donuts and various sundry other spacers in silver. So as you look at my bead tray, you will see that I am beginning to lay out my pattern. Most of the work in getting this set of stretch bracelets together is in laying out your pattern. That's one of the things I like about this bracelet tray. It allows you to build from the middle going out. That way, when you're doing a set, you can build it in such a way that you know exactly where the center should be on each of the bracelets and how they match together. The stretch cord I'll be using is the Stretch Magic in 0.7mm in the clear. When I cut the cord for my bracelet, if I'm doing a 7-inch bracelet, I always make it between 12 and 14 inches. I know it wastes it, but it makes it easier to tie in the end. And the next step is to stretch your cord. Now that sounds kind of crazy, and I didn't do it sometimes, and I was sorry. But just really stretch that cord so that you get it prepared for your beads. Now that my cord is ready, I'm showing you a close-up of the bead tray. This is the bracelet I'm going to start with. As you can see in the top 2 slots, or I guess in the first 2 slots, depending on the way you're looking at it, this is the layout for the other 2 bracelets in the set. Oh, here comes the famous 3 fingers. This is a note to myself to remind me that this is a 3-set bracelet and I'm not just making individual bracelets. Because of all the prep work I have done for these bracelets, I can just start at the end and bead straight down. Sometimes I have to start building from the middle and go on both sides out at the same time, but this is an easy build. As you will see a little bit later, I like to use a large hole bead at the very end of my bracelet, so when I tie my knot, I can hide it in the bead. Therefore, I'm starting with my donut spacers, and I'm doing 3. That's so once I get the knot in there and pull those up, it will keep it secure in the large hole bead. You know, I just love these small glass crystal faceted beads with the gold on it. The reason not gold, silver. And the reason I do is because when you turn it just the right way, it really sparkles like a diamond. I love it. Hope I can get some more. at the little rondelle spacer, the little rondelle crystals, about the third one from the right you will see is turned the correct way. Look how it sparkles. Now in this section I'm showing you the setup just before we get to the center. I love the way these are coming together. Just a few more and we will be to our center bead. Now for the center bead of this one, I have chosen to use a bell. This is a very simple bell. It ends up looking kind of like a silver bead. And I did that because I just didn't like the look of a jump ring to hold this charm on. So now we're putting on the bell. From this point, it's just a matter of putting the other side on in reverse. But since I have it laid out in the beading tray, it's just a matter of following the beads. From this point, I lay it down and I always check to make sure that my beads are exactly the way I want them to be. There is nothing more disheartening than to get to the end, tie that bracelet off, and realize either you don't like the way it lines up or you have miscalculated somewhere and messed up the pattern. Once I check the pattern, I lay it back down and make sure that I have it right at about 7 inches because I really like mine at 7.25. But I have a nice big bead. Remember that big bead we talked about? And so that will add the last bit of the length for me. So I put on the big bead and I'm ready to tie it off. A little trick I have found is if I use a metal bead, big hole bead, it kind of balances the big beads I put on the top with the metal on the bottom, and I don't end up as easily with the top of the bracelet at the bottom of the wrist. When I tie off my bracelets, I make just a simple over-under loop and pull it as tight as I can, and I do this 3 times. Then I reach under the bracelet and do it 3 times. And then I reach up to the top of the bracelet on top and do it 2 more times. I clip it and then I will put a dot of glue on it whenever I get ready to hide it in the big bead. I'm going to go ahead and cut it and pop it into that big bead and make sure it sets well. I leave a little bit above the knot when I cut it. I will not be gluing it on camera because I'm having a good fingertip day and I don't want to risk getting that glue on my fingers and causing them to break out again. 2 of the 3 bracelets will have a silver charm to go with them. I've decided for the silver charm for this bracelet, it will be the Tree of Life. I'm going with the larger charm on this bracelet because it's a simpler look to the bracelet. And here I'm going back and clipping the cord, and this bracelet is ready to be glued. I'll call my daughter and ask her to do that. I just love the way this bracelet looks. I would wear it as a single. But the lady who saw me making this bracelet was what sold her on the set. And it is already given to her. I have to tell you something. I just discovered there was a way to make the speed on this thing move up and move down. I'm so excited. So we're ready to start our second bracelet, and I'm going to move a little quicker. Well, not really me, but the camera is going to move a little quicker as I prepare this video. Now for the second bracelet, I haven't shown the beads being put on, but because honestly, I didn't film it thinking, wow, this thing is going to be long. But I did show the progression of the beading. And just look at those crystal silver teardrops. Those are great beads. I love them. If you haven't already, would you please like and subscribe? It really helps this channel get out, and it helps this video to be seen by others. Thank you. So I'm finishing out the stringing on this second of 3 bracelets. I told you I found how to speed it up. Isn't that cool? Wow. I told my daughter, boy, I sure wish I moved that fast in the real world. And she kind of laughed, and then I had to say, well, actually, I have seen people that can string that fast. That's not me. But I sure like pretending the way that thing speeds up. You know, the most amazing thing to me was that I left all these little packages of beads because I didn't know what to do with them. I have almost a year's worth of beads sitting in a box that I just take out and look at. But whenever, I wish I could remember her name, but there was a lady on YouTube who said, use the bargain bead box beads and add to them the things you think would make them beautiful. And I found that to be really freeing for me. So I pass that on to you. Use what makes you feel beautiful. And here is the way the second bracelet has come together. Aren't those teardrops amazing? I love this bracelet. Again, once you're finished, lay it down in your tray or by your ruler, whatever you're measuring with, and make sure it's shorter than the length you want to finish with if you're putting a big hole bead on it, and then measure it with the big hole bead. And we're doing a simple over-under tie again. 3 on top, reach around, 3 on bottom, reach around, 2 on top. I know that's probably overkill, but I've found that it really works, and I feel secure with giving this or selling this as long as I know those knots are not going anywhere. And this is what the second bracelet looks like when it's tied together. Isn't that just beautiful? I love this set. And this is a glimpse of the first 2 put together. And they really set beautifully together because I took the time to figure out what the spacing was going to look like from the centers out. I've cut my string or cord, I've stretched it out, and now I'm ready to finish up this set with the third bracelet in the set. I will speed up several things of these because I'm sure you're tired of watching me stick beads on. Okay, here we go. There really is nothing particularly hard about a stretch bracelet. And yet, when they're done well, they are some of the most beautiful bracelets I have seen. They're easy to get on and off, and yet at the same time, depending on what beads you use, they are just stunning. I love them. I'm always surprised when people say, oh, that's just a stretch bracelet. You know, there is nothing about these bracelets that's just. I love, love, love making them. So on this bracelet, I started in the middle with my center 8mm bead and then went to the 6mm. And so if you will notice, the charm on this one is also on a bell, but it is to the left or the right, depending on how you put it on, of the center of your bracelet. I did that so that the two charms would not compete with each other. And away we go again. I love this speed up on the video. That's just amazing. I wondered how people were doing that. That is truly awesome. So if you're looking to make sets of bracelets, the thing that I would really stress is, first of all, get a variety of beads in the same color palette so that you use some of the same beads and some of the same colors. You don't introduce any different colors in all of the bracelets. And then it is so important to this type of beading that you lay out your pattern, including your spacer beads, which I have to do with a little tool because my fingers just chase it all over the place. It's really important you do that so that you know how it's going to look and where everything is going to line up. For this one, it's a very simple pattern. It has that central 8mm, then you go to 6mm, and then I go down to 4mm at the very end. That's why it's so important I use that heavier metal bead on the back. And like the other two, I'm laying it down, I'm checking my pattern, and then I will add, if it's the right length, the metal large hole bead at the back before I tie it. And tying it is the same as the others. 3 simple over loop knots on the top, 3 on the bottom, 2 back on the top. Tighten it, just pull them when you do them as tight as they'll go. You're afraid you're going to break the cord, but I have never broken a cord. And then we'll clip them and we will put a dab of glue on it and hide it inside the big hole bead. Thank you so much for joining me today as we make these stretch bracelets. I hope you have a wonderful time beading this week. Good journeying in your beading, Catherine, Circle Art Designs.